I was very sad because he was a great entertainer. He's just an icon in the city of Nashville.
Although Glen Campbell passed away some years ago, it seems he did not take all his secrets to the grave. The things he did while he was still alive, which Nashville once tried to cover up, have recently been exposed, and they have raised many questions. Why would a man known for his talent and successful career become the center of attention years after his demise? What exactly did he do that was so serious that Nashville tried to erase it? The answer to all of this is here. So stay with us as we reveal it all. The music legend, Glen Campbell. Glen Travis Campbell, known to all as Glen Campbell, was born on April 22, 1936, in the small town of Delight, Arkansas. Campbell was born into a family of sharecroppers who worked the land to feed the family, and so did Glen and his 12 siblings. His life in Delight was described as simple but extremely demanding. From a very young age, he found peace in music and showed great interest in playing instruments. By the time he was 7, Campbell was already playing the guitar. As time went on, he joined his uncle's band, and much of his early musical experience came from performing with them. After years of performing and learning, he eventually started his band called the Western Wranglers, playing small gigs in clubs and bars. This band experience helped him develop both his guitar and singing skills. Little did he know that this would become the foundation of his future success in music. In the late 1950s, Campbell made a decision that later changed his life. He left rural Arkansas for Los Angeles, where he joined a group of studio musicians known as the Wrecking Crew. During this time, he gained popularity among major artists by playing guitar on records for stars such as Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra. He was highly respected for his talent, which gave him a strong reputation in the industry. By 1964, Campbell joined the Beach Boys as a touring member, filling in for Brian Wilson after he stepped back from touring. His time with the Beach Boys introduced him to national audiences and provided him with valuable connections in the music industry. Afterward, he returned to Los Angeles to focus on developing his solo career. Campbell's big break came in 1967 with the release of Gentle on My Mind, his first major hit. The song went on to win him multiple Grammy Awards and nominations, making him a household name in country music. Around this time, his fan base grew rapidly, and he became recognized as one of the most successful artists of the era. In addition to music, Campbell displayed versatility by venturing into television. From 1969 to 1972, he hosted the Glen Campbell Good Time Hour, a variety show that featured his hits and collaborations with other prominent artists. This further solidified him as a beloved household name, appealing to both music fans and television audiences. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, Campbell's career continued to thrive. He released numerous successful albums and singles, with songs like Rhinestone Cowboy and Southern Nights becoming iconic. He toured extensively across the United States and internationally, winning the admiration and love of fans worldwide. However, his personal life was not without struggles. He battled substance dependence for many years, and while this created challenges, he continued to remain active in his career, recording and performing consistently. He was married 4 times and had 8 children, with his family often supporting him through his struggles with unhealthy habits, illness, and the demands of his career. In 2011, Campbell's life changed dramatically when he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Despite the seriousness of his condition, he chose to continue performing. In 2012, he embarked on a farewell tour designed to allow him to share his music with audiences while managing his health. The tour extended to major cities across the United States and was widely praised for its courage and authenticity. Sadly, Glen Campbell passed away on August 8, 2017, at the age of 81, after years of battling Alzheimer's disease with strength and dignity. He was remembered not only for his musical achievements, but also for the bravery with which he faced his illness, raising awareness and inspiring countless people. Shortly before his passing, Campbell released his final studio album, Adios. The album served as a reflection of his life and career, featuring songs recorded during his earlier years. Even after his passing, his music remained immensely popular and admired worldwide. His funeral was a private ceremony held in his hometown of Delight, Arkansas, on August 9, 2017, just 1 day after he passed. The service was attended only by close family and friends, with no public viewing or open casket. A separate private memorial service followed, attended by those closest to him. Later, a star-studded public memorial was held in Nashville, Tennessee, at the CMA Theater in the Country Music Hall of Fame. The event featured performances and tributes from notable artists. Brad Paisley performed a cover of Country Boy along with a medley of Campbell's hits, including Rhinestone Cowboy and Southern Nights. Stephen Curtis Chapman sang Campbell's Christian crossover hit I Will Be Here. Carl Jackson, Steve Werner, and Mac McAnally performed Arkansas Farm Boy, a biographical song from Campbell's final album, Adios. Mike Love and Friends gave an a cappella rendition of a Four Freshmen song, followed by I Get Around. Campbell's family, including his daughter Ashley and widow Kim Campbell, delivered heartfelt eulogies and tributes. The memorial had tight security, with only 300 guests in attendance. For a man so deeply loved and admired, one might wonder what he could have done that was so terrible that Nashville tried to bury it. Stay tuned for more details. Glen Campbell's life teaches an important lesson. Never judge a book by its cover. Most celebrities share only a fraction of their lives with fans, and what they hide behind closed doors often remains a mystery. Some scandals, however, are simply too large to bury, and in Glen Campbell's case, this was one of them. The first scandal, the tumultuous love story. Glen Campbell is known for his multiple marriages, but the relationship that made the news most shockingly was not even a marriage. When Glen Campbell and Tanya Tucker began a romance in the early 1980s, country music fans were fascinated. He was 44 years old and already a superstar with decades of hits. She was just 21, a young star whose career had started in her teenage years. What looked like a loving relationship from the outside quickly turned into one of the most chaotic and controversial romances in country music history, filled with substance use, violent arguments, tabloid headlines, and finally, a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. So, how did their relationship turn into a messy scandal? Let us go back to the year 1980. Campbell and Tucker decided to collaborate on a duet of a Bobby Darin song, Dream Lover. After their on-stage performance, they developed feelings for each other and quickly became inseparable. They made the news as one of the most beloved couples of that time. Their relationship was so intense that multiple rumors circulated. Campbell was said to have proposed to her while they were on a trip to Scotland, and the couple even planned to get married on Valentine's Day in 1982. It was said that he was looking forward to settling down with her in Arizona. While the rumors of their whirlwind romance spread, so did a much darker rumor involving heavy substance use. By late 1981, the relationship had become a constant subject of gossip columns. They were seen fighting in public, sometimes even violently. According to multiple accounts, including Tanya's later autobiography, she revealed that one fight left her with 2 broken front teeth after Campbell's elbow struck her face. She also recalled a night when she was locked out of a home, kicked through a window, and badly cut her leg. In another incident, she admitted she broke one of Campbell's ribs during a physical altercation. Tabloids ran wild with stories that the couple believed they were possessed by demons and even attempted exorcism rituals with candles and prayers to remove the evil spirit they thought was haunting them. The chaos was not limited to their homes. In September 1981, Campbell reportedly flew to Bossier City, Louisiana, where Tucker was performing, and accused her of infidelity. He allegedly dragged one of her band members into her hotel room, trashed the place, and left Tucker shaken. Police were said to have been called, though no charges were filed. Newspapers at the time carried bold headlines, including one that read, "Tanya to Campbell, get lost, you big jerk." Their brief romance, once discussed in terms of marriage, ended by the close of that year. While all this was going on, songwriter Steve Dorff tried to pitch a ballad called Through the Years to Campbell in 1981. Dorff later recalled walking in on Campbell and Tucker in the middle of a furious fight, with objects, including a hairdryer, being thrown across the room. Campbell dismissed the song in the chaos. It later went to Kenny Rogers, who turned it into a massive, career-defining hit. For Campbell, it was a reminder of how personal turmoil could derail professional opportunities. Though the relationship ended in 1981, its consequences lingered. Around 1985, Tanya Tucker filed a $3 million lawsuit against Campbell, accusing him of mistreatment and battery. She claimed he had fractured her front teeth, damaged her gums, and prevented her from receiving immediate medical attention in an attempt to cover up the incident. The suit also included reference to an alleged secret audio recording from a jam session in which Campbell made disturbing remarks, including violent threats. While Campbell denied the worst of the allegations, the story added another dark chapter to both of their reputations. For Tucker, it added negatively to her image as the wild child of country music. For Campbell, it contributed to the already public criticism he was facing in his struggles with alcohol and cocaine. Their brief affair had now turned into a legal and media problem. Both eventually addressed the relationship in their autobiographies. Campbell, in his 1994 memoir Rhinestone Cowboy, referred to his time with Tanya Tucker as my insanity. He acknowledged it as a highly toxic relationship in a period of deep personal instability. Tanya Tucker, in her 1997 autobiography, offered more detail about the physical fights. She confirmed that Campbell's elbow had fractured her teeth during one altercation. She also wrote of the cuts and bruises that came from their fights while admitting her role in the chaos. Years later, she added that she had been very young and knew how to push the buttons, suggesting that immaturity and substance use made an already unstable pairing even more explosive. Though the love affair lasted only about a year, Tanya Tucker later called Glen Campbell the love of her life. She often reflected that she had met him too young and that their timing had doomed them. She also said she believed that trying to help him through his struggles helped her step away from her substance use problems. Campbell, in contrast, saw the relationship as a destructive period that he had to escape. He later married Kim Woolen, with whom he claimed he found more stability and sobriety. For him, the chapter with Tanya Tucker was a past mistake, though one the media never let him completely escape. When Campbell passed away in August 2017 at the age of 81 after a long battle with Alzheimer's disease, Tanya Tucker released a tribute song titled Forever Loving You. She said it was meant to honor him and raise awareness for Alzheimer's research. Yet the gesture caused tension with Campbell's widow, Kim, who described the tribute as callous and disrespectful. Tanya defended herself, saying her intentions were pure and rooted in love. But the conflict showed how their brief and turbulent romance still cast a shadow decades later. The Glen Campbell and Tanya Tucker story is remembered not as a tale of lasting romance, but as one of country music's nastiest scandals. From public brawls and broken teeth to tabloid headlines and lawsuits, their one-year relationship left marks that neither of them could fully escape. Campbell would call it insanity, while Tucker would call it love. The truth likely lies somewhere in between. What is certain is that the drama revealed the darker side of fame, passion, and unhealthy habits, and it remains one of the most infamous chapters in the history of Nashville. This was not the only scandal associated with Campbell's name. Stay tuned, because we are just getting started. The second scandal, alleged mistreatment and arrest charges. Previously, we talked about Glen Campbell's violent tendencies, but the person who had the most information was none other than his widow, Kim Campbell. In her memoir, Gentle on My Mind, in Sickness and in Health, with Glen Campbell, Kim Woolen. Campbell shared one of the most frightening episodes of their life together. Their love began in 1981 on a blind date. Kim, who was a rockette, was just 22, while Glen was over 40 and already thrice divorced. On that very first night, she said she saw charm and humor, but also witnessed him become sloppy drunk in the suite at the Waldorf. Around 1983, shortly after the birth of their first son, Cal, Kim recounted that Glen, despite agreeing to avoid drinking at home, found the hidden bottles stored in their linen closet and drank heavily. She described the terrifying moment when he leveled a gun at her as if lining up a target. That action made her freeze. Without a word, he turned and walked away. Kim revealed that the incident scared her, and she questioned the decision she had made by starting a family with him. She also wrote at length about how his drinking habits would turn him into a completely different person. She said that when he wasn't drinking, he was the best guy in the world, but when he drank, she feared for both her safety and his. She further explained that his behavior made her tremble and shake because of how bad it had gotten. Their marriage held together through a long, painful cycle. Love on the surface, terror in its undercurrents. For decades, Kim experienced nights when his drinking completely changed him. Though the gun incident could have ended everything, Kim stayed. In a later reflection, she told people that she stayed because she loved him and strongly believed he was a good man. She added that when he was committed to her, they were inseparable and could not imagine ever being apart. Their marriage endured for 34 years through unhealthy habits, relapse, fame, and the final battle with Alzheimer's. Glen Campbell is widely remembered for his music, his television presence, and later, his grace in facing illness. Yet this moment reminds us that the man behind the legend is a deeply flawed and complex individual. The scandals did not end there. One of the most serious incidents happened in November 2003, when he was arrested for driving under the influence and mistreating a police officer. On the night of November 24th, Campbell was driving in Phoenix, Arizona near his home. Reports stated that he hit another vehicle and left the scene, leading police officers to track him down. When they arrived, they found Campbell showing signs of intoxication. He was taken into custody on charges including extreme DUI, hit and run, and aggravated assault on a police officer. Witnesses claimed he had been unsteady, smelled of alcohol, and appeared confused. What made the incident even more shocking to fans was that Campbell was not just a private citizen, but a well-known figure celebrated for decades. Police records confirmed that when officers tried to arrest him, Campbell allegedly became combative, kneeing an officer in the thigh. This added to the charges, painting the image of a man not just under the influence but out of control. Campbell later pleaded guilty to extreme DUI and leaving the scene of an accident. He was sentenced to 10 days in jail, community service, and rehabilitation. For a man who had stood on the world stages, the image of him behind bars was a jarring reminder of how deeply addiction had scarred his life. Despite the seriousness of the case, Campbell's punishment was relatively light compared to what many others might have faced. Some observers believed that his fame and legacy played a role in the outcome, while others argued that the incident revealed the deep cracks in Campbell's personal life that even his great talent could no longer hide. The DUI arrest marked a turning point. Campbell entered rehab shortly afterward, and although his battles with substance and alcohol dependence had stretched across decades, this incident forced him to confront the consequences in a very public way. Years later, a new set of rumors emerged. When Glen Campbell was sentenced to 10 days in Maricopa County Jail, public curiosity extended beyond his legal troubles. Many wondered, did a legend like Campbell receive lenient or special treatment behind bars? Reports suggested that the answer might have been far more complex than the official record revealed. Investigations, particularly by Celebrity Justice, raised serious allegations of preferential treatment during Campbell's incarceration. Critics suggested that, contrary to the tough on-crime image projected by Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio, known as America's toughest sheriff, Campbell may have skipped the usual harsh conditions faced by ordinary inmates. According to reports, while most inmates were confined to crowded cells and given basic necessities, Campbell allegedly received a far more comfortable setup. He reportedly had a personal cushion or mattress instead of a hard bunk, access to a cell phone and guitar, and food brought from home in a cooler courtesy of his wife. These accommodations sparked speculation that Campbell was treated more like a VIP than a common inmate. Journalist John Dougherty described the arrangement bluntly as Joe's country club jail, emphasizing the difference between Campbell's treatment and that of standard detainees, who were stripped of personal items like toothpaste and books upon arrival. Detailed coverage from Inmate Aid added further context that Campbell reportedly served his sentence at an air-conditioned facility known to jail staff as the Mesa Hilton, rather than in the harsh, open-air conditions of Tent City, known for its striped uniforms, minimal amenities, and tough living conditions. Under a secret arrangement, he was allowed to leave the jail for up to 12 hours a day for work. During his stay, Campbell allegedly had access to a cell phone, his guitar, and a therapeutic mattress, all privileges not granted to the general inmate population. One of the most shocking allegations was a performance for inmates at Tent City. Campbell reportedly sang a makeshift concert from a flatbed truck, performing hits like Gentle on My Mind, and even joined Sheriff Arpaio in a staged photo op. This created powerful media attention. Campbell joked that the event was arranged to get out of jail for 4 hours. This prison concert served two purposes. It softened the impact of his crime as a public figure, but it also reinforced the impression that celebrity status can provide unique privileges even in jail. Now, the million-dollar question: who orchestrated all these special services? Was it Nashville or Glen himself? Let's take a closer look at Nashville's stance on all of these scandals. The truth behind Nashville. Glen Campbell was one of the most famous country music stars in history. Fans loved his songs, his guitar playing, and his variety show. He became a legend in Nashville and around the world, but even someone as talented as Glen had problems in his life. Some of his mistakes and personal struggles became public, and some stayed hidden. How Nashville handled these scandals shows a lot about the music city and the secrets behind the spotlight. When Glen Campbell faced troubles in his personal life, Nashville had to decide how much to share with the public. The city is home to big music companies, managers, and producers who all work to protect the music and the artists. They know that a scandal can ruin a singer's career. Nashville often chooses to control the story so fans can continue enjoying the music without being distracted by personal problems. One way Nashville handles scandals is through public statements or explanations. If a story about Glen appeared in the media, his team might release a statement to explain what happened. Sometimes it included an apology or clarified the situation. This was done to calm fans and prevent rumors from spreading. Nashville wanted the focus to stay on Glen's music, not just the mistakes he made. Sometimes, Nashville deals with problems privately. Many incidents in Glen Campbell's life were likely solved behind closed doors. Lawyers, managers, and publicists often handled issues quietly. Fans may never know about these private discussions. Even the people closest to Glen may have kept some secrets private. Many stories about the singer's life were never reported or confirmed, meaning we only see a small part of the full picture. Another method Nashville often uses is strategic silence. This happens when a problem is too big to cover or control publicly. If the story becomes too dangerous or complicated, Nashville may say very little or nothing at all. Silence can help calm the situation down. It also keeps the public from judging the singer too harshly. In Glen Campbell's case, some scandals never became huge news because Nashville kept quiet. Even when scandals became public, Nashville often controlled how they were shared. Managers, record labels, and PR teams helped decide what fans would see. Some stories were written in a way that made them seem less serious than they really were. Some details were left out. This careful control protected Glen's reputation while keeping fans focused on his music. Many incidents in Glen Campbell's life probably never reached the public. Only people working in the music industry knew the details. Fans only saw the polished version of his life, concerts and awards, and listened to his songs on the radio. Nashville may have quietly handled countless mistakes, conflicts, or personal struggles that are never known today. Even when a scandal could not be hidden, Nashville still used silence strategically. Sometimes the city waited for the story to fade from the news. Fans moved on to the next album, the next tour, or the next big singer. This gave Glen Campbell a chance to continue his career without constant public scrutiny. Nashville also relied on trusted insiders to protect Glen. Lawyers, managers, and PR experts worked behind the scenes to negotiate settlements, delay media coverage, or explain stories in a way that minimized damage. Fans assumed that what they read or heard in the news was the full story, but often it was only a small part. Many of Glen Campbell's problems were handled quietly and never fully shared. This method had advantages and disadvantages. On one hand, it protected Glen's career, kept the music industry strong, and allowed fans to enjoy his music. On the other hand, it hid the truth. Fans may not have understood the full reality of Glen's life or the challenges he faced. For historians or future generations, this means that parts of his story may remain secret forever. Even in the modern world, with social media and instant news, Nashville still uses careful management. They rely on silence, private settlements, and media control to protect artists like Glen. Many things that happened in the past may never become public. Fans can only imagine how many incidents or mistakes were kept hidden. The truth may never be fully revealed. Nashville's approach to scandals shows the hidden side of fame. Even someone as famous and talented as Glen Campbell had personal struggles. The city worked to manage these challenges quietly, so the music stayed in the spotlight. Statements, private negotiations, and silence were all tools used to protect Glen, his career, and the reputation of Music City. In the end, Nashville is careful, strategic, and protective. The city understands that mistakes will happen, but it knows how to respond. Sometimes they apologize, sometimes they negotiate privately, and sometimes they remain silent. Many stories are probably buried forever, leaving only the music and public performances as the visible part of the story. For fans, this is comforting but mysterious. They can enjoy Glen Campbell's music without being distracted by scandals. At the same time, they may never know the full truth. Nashville's careful handling shows that fame has a hidden side. Not everything is seen by fans, and not every story is told. Glen Campbell's scandals were not experienced only by him. Other people were directly involved, and their lives were often deeply affected. One of the most prominent figures was Tanya Tucker, the young country singer who became romantically involved with Glen in the early 1980s. Their whirlwind romance quickly turned violent, marked by arguments, physical confrontations, and substance use. Another key person was Glen Campbell, Glen's fourth wife, who witnessed some of the most frightening episodes in his life. Her perspective highlights the fear and instability that accompanied Glen's struggles. Law enforcement officers also became part of the story, particularly during Glen's DUI arrest in 2003. They had to manage a well-known celebrity who was unsteady and resistant, navigating the tension between public duty and the power of a celebrity's fame. Managers, lawyers, and Nashville insiders were involved as well, helping to manage, cover up, or settle issues to protect Glen's career and reputation. Each person connected to these events experienced the effects of his mistakes, showing how scandals can extend far beyond the individual and have a lasting impact on others. Even though we may never know all the scandals Glen Campbell faced, his life shows us how Nashville works behind the scenes. The city protects its stars, manages secrets, and keeps the music alive. The full story of Glen Campbell, including the struggles and mistakes, may never be revealed. What we do know is that his talent, music, and legacy continue to shine, thanks in part to the careful control and strategies of Nashville. He was more than just a music legend. He was a deeply human and flawed man. His struggles with unhealthy habits, temper, and personal mistakes showed that even the brightest stars have shadows. Fans admired his talent, But few saw the side of him that wrestled with fear, regret, and impulsive choices. These flaws made his life complicated and sometimes painful for those closest to him. Yet it was also these imperfections that shaped his music, giving it depth, emotion, and honesty. Glen Campbell's story reminds us that greatness often comes with struggle and that human flaws do not erase true talent. What is your view on Glen Campbell's scandals? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring content like this. Before you go, kindly watch the other videos on your screen.